It's time for the Miami Grand Prix here at this episode, of course. We are managing our sponsors, as you can see. It's our first secondary sponsor, which we are going to change. We went from Pay Night to eventually, as you can see right now, Avazar. We need to complete a total of 50 laps during a race weekend, so that is easy cash. And I think that all of my sponsors are now based on the amount of laps that we drive as a team during a weekend or practice. As you can see, we are upgrading our quality control on the chassis, as we don't want to have any failures anymore in our coming upgrades. You can see 2 upgrades are busy on the aerodynamics department, and we have 3.9k resource points, so we are doing 2 major upgrades on the chassis as well. There's a higher risk that they will fail, but nonetheless we are trying to put them on in time for the Miami Grand Prix. Otherwise they will be in time for Spain. As you can see, they both failed. So unfortunately no upgrades for us in the chassis department, at least, as the aerodynamics department is until tomorrow that we will know if they will come through. As you can see, we are upgrading one of the 2 major upgrades, and hopefully the other one will go on as well in time for the Spanish Grand Prix, as we have asked the drivers, which I thought was really fun to do, as I got 2 questions, and the first was, for a team to progress in F1, it's obvious that many elements need to align. What would you consider the most important component essential for success? We had the opportunity to choose team, tech, or drivers, and I know F1 is all about a team sport to get as a team as far as possible, so I chose for that one. And the second question was about what my biggest passion was aside from Formula One. It was between cars, relaxation, or work, and I really do love cars, so I chose that one. And that was it for Ask the Drivers this time. Hopefully we will see them in the near future once again, as both our major upgrades have come on in the aerodynamics department. We are done with practice and on to qualifying we go. You can see us now coming out of the pits, as we are trying to get ourselves up as high as possible into a great starting position for tomorrow's race. As you can see, we are out of the pits and onto our flying lap we go. We do have some traffic. It's Mick Schumacher in the Aston Martin. If you don't know why he is in the Aston Martin, then go and check out the pre-season of Season 2, as we are in Season 2 of our MyTeam. Mick Schumacher leaves us through, as he is still in his outlap. As you can see, we are still struggling a lot with this track. I haven't driven it that much. It's the newest track on the calendar, so I'm still trying to find some time here and there, and trying to improve every lap. As you can see, we are 2 seconds behind George Russell, and as the pack is very close together from P1 to P22, there is still a lot of improvement that we can do. As you can see, a second flying lap, and we have a second up, but we spin unfortunately, and Mick Schumacher goes through. But unfortunately we had a spinner on the second flying lap, as you can see here from an off-board cam. We have of course our new sponsor at our halo. But as you can see now, then at the end of Q1 we are 7/10 up on our own time. You can see we run wide, we do not spin luckily, and Carlos Sainz sets the fastest lap of this session. And then Sebastian Vettel improves even more, and you can see 1.3 seconds up on our best time so far. Let's see where that puts us, as we are coming to the start-finish straight, and it puts us only in P18, unfortunately. So that is qualifying over for us. Let's see what our teammate did then, as he was faster than us. You can see Sebastian Vettel in P1, Hamilton in P2, and Sainz in P3 for now. Of course, they still need to qualify in Q2 and Q3. But unfortunately, Jenson Button is also out of qualifying. He was only 1/10 away from Pierre Gasly. I was 2/10 away. So hopefully the race will go better with those two major aerodynamics upgrades, of course.
We're here in the coastal shores of Florida for the Miami Grand Prix, which has become the 11th Formula One track held in the United States. The grandstands are packed for what we hope is going to be another fantastic race. Sitting at the southeastern coast of Florida, the Miami International Autodrome has 19 corners and 3.36 miles of racing. It's a circuit designed to encourage close racing while meeting the highest safety standards. Either way, I'm sure it's one that will please the fans. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Ricciardo, Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel and Russell, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton and Esteban Ocon, Magnussen, Zhou, Pierre Gasly and Tsunoda, Albon, Button, the engineer and Robert Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher, Stroll, Latifi and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. It's just about time to go down to the track for the beginning of the race, but before we do, Anthony Davidson, what types of strategy do you think we can expect for today's event?
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. The tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending longer on worn tyres.
Alright, then let's go for the Miami Grand Prix here in Season 2 then. As you can see, the last cars are lining up to the grid and we are now 1, 2, 3 lights are on. The last 2 lights are going on as well and it's lights out and away we go. A good start for both of the Ferrari drivers. But that's not what we are focusing on. We are focusing on ourselves and we go down the inside of a lot of cars. But unfortunately we couldn't hold on to that position. We lose 2 positions once again. We are currently in P15 just ahead of our teammate Jenson Button. We've already seen some part of the front wing being thrown around. But that will only mean a few drivers going into the pits. As Yuki Tsunoda is going really wide and there's a full front wing what was just thrown out and there's a virtual safety car. And Pierre Gasly just overtakes me during the virtual safety car. Which means that we are now back in P16 like we started because of Norris's penalty. But that's unbelievable. He didn't even get a penalty or anything, or even a warning. It was just legal for him or something like that. I don't know why. But as you can see, Albon, his front wing is gone, so he's going into the pits. And we are now done with lap 1. You can see now in lap 2, end of lap 2, we are going around the outside of Pierre Gasly to try and overtake him once again. And luckily this time we managed to hold on. We use the inside line. We are still side by side, but we have the inside for that first corner, so we should be fine with getting P14 then. And as you can see, we are now behind Yuki Tsunoda, the other AlphaTauri driver, so hopefully we will be able to overtake him as well. Here in lap 3, Pierre Gasly is going for it once again. You can see he is trying to go for the inside, but he just stays behind me luckily. As I almost run into the back of Yuki Tsunoda. Luckily no damage for us there, as there was still a small gap between us and the AlphaTauri driver. But you can see now in lap 4 the DRS has been enabled, and it's a gap, or a group, not a gap, all the way up to P9, so we should be able to get points if we can hold on to these guys in front as we are coming to the Mickey Mouse section for the 4th time in this race. The AI is really slow in this section. As you can see, we are almost standing still here at this corner, only 70 kilometers per hour. And you can see Sergio Perez actually in P11. He didn't have a great qualifying as well. But you can see now lap 4, and once again Pierre Gasly is oh so close behind us, and he's trying to overtake, as you can see here, from an off-board cam now to his on-board, and he is side by side. Is he going to overtake us into this last corner? Yes, he is. Or is he? He is not. We are still side by side. Are we trying to hold on? Yes, we are. And we do have the DRS, so we are using that alongside with some overtake. And we are staying in front of Pierre Gasly now in lap 5 then. And we are still not losing that much time compared to Yuki Tsunoda. We are still within 1 second, and we have the DRS. As there are yellow flags, and it's Pierre Gasly who is out of this race. He has a engine failure, so he is out of the Miami Grand Prix, and now the car behind will be Button, so hopefully he can catch up to us once again. As we now see Yuki Tsunoda, and into the last corner he goes, and we can just see him spin around, and that's now both of the AlphaTauris in the bin. So that is not a great weekend for them. Luckily we didn't catch up, or we didn't get caught up with Yuki Tsunoda, and the safeguard is now out because both of the AlphaTauris were stationary at the same time. And as you can see, we are now at the back of the safety car, and I was thinking about going for the soft strategy after this one, so that we go from medium to soft instead of hard, as we have a few laps and percentage of less tire wear with going so slowly through these sections. And you can see Perez is in P10 now, and there's only 2 cars between us and the points, as the safety car is coming in this lap, in lap 8, and we still have 20 laps to go, so a long way to go until we are at the start-finish straight for the last time and finish the race. But let's hope we have a good restart. As you can see here, down the back straight, we are here to continue this race, of course, in green flags running, and our restart is oh so slow. We are just not getting away from that last corner, which means that we have lost quite some time to the Haas driver in front of us. But luckily we are coming to the Mickey Mouse section once again, and you can see that we are just catching up oh so much, which is absolutely amazing, because this will give us always an opportunity. How bad the first sector has gone, we can always catch up to them if they are in a group. At least if they are alone, we still catch up a little bit, but not as much as they are in a group. You can see now my teammates trying to overtake us here in lap 9, but we use the ERS as the DRS hasn't been enabled yet, and we can stay in front of him. And you can see we are only hanging on with just a few tenths. You can see now we are outside at 1 second gap, as we are becoming a esports driver. You can see, looking back for no reason, you can see us becoming one of the best esports drivers there has ever been, with going 4th and back multiple times just within a second. And yeah, you can see I was just bored, so I thought, let's do this. And you can see we haven't even lost that much time to the cars in front. We are still 6 tenths behind the Chinese driver. But as you can see now, lap 13, we have lost a little bit of time. But the Haas driver and my teammate and also a few of the leaders are coming in this lap. I am going 1 lap longer because I think that will be the best strategy for us to do. As you can see, we are now in lap 14. We are halfway done with this race, and we are behind Sergio Perez in P7. But as we are coming to the end of this lap 10, you can see that right now we have actually caught up to Perez just a little bit more. We have 2 green sectors, So if we are driving in clean air, then we will be fast compared to the drivers around us. So hopefully we will be able to get a few points out of this race, missing the apex of the last turn. But that doesn't matter too much as we are coming into the pits, and we don't want to have a bad pit stop, so we just get to 80 kilometers per hour exactly. And the only thing that could ruin our race is engine problems and a bad pit stop. So let's hope that doesn't happen as we turn in perfectly. It's an optimal turn in. And you can see, of course, the luck is not with us today as we have a pit stop problem with our front left tire. I was absolutely furious when this happened because we lost about 2.5 seconds. And you can see the Chinese driver is just in front of us. So that would have meant we were in front of Zhao Guanyu and Fernando Alonso. So unfortunately that is not happening today, or at least not during the pit stop phase, as our teammate is trying to overtake us. You can see him with the DRS, I think also with a bit of ERS, but you can see I'm going down the inside, but I'm switching to the outside as we go around the outside at this corner, which turns to the inside for the next one. And we managed to overtake him here in the Mickey Mouse section, and hopefully we can now try and hunt down the Haas and Alpine. As at this point in time I felt more comfortable with the car, so I was going faster and faster, so it shouldn't be that hard to catch up to them. As you can now see, 1 lap later we are done with our outlap and our teammate is going down our inside, and Schumacher is now in front of us. He was, I think, a few seconds behind us when we first started this pit stop period, and now we are behind him. But we are not letting him get away, as we are, of course, on warmer tires. And we go down the inside here at the end of Sector 1. Maybe we should have waited for the DRS, but I felt still that anger inside me from that pit stop. So I decided to just overtake him and not let him pass anymore, so that we can now catch up to the drivers in front. Of course, we still have Schumacher and Button behind us, who are fairly close to us, but as you can see, they didn't manage to overtake us on that straight with DRS, and now we are in our strongest sector compared to the AI, so we should be able to get away from them, as we are almost at 1 second gap behind us. So let's just hope we can only make that gap bigger. As you can see, we are now in lap 18 and we are catching up to Zhao, as we are only having a gap of 1.7 seconds between us right now, and the gap behind to Schumacher is 2.4 seconds. So we are driving phenomenal, but not as good as we actually can drive. We are trying to push as hard as we can, but still hold that life in the tires so that we can go till the end of the race on these tires, as I don't want to pit anymore. We can see 1 lap later we are inside the DRS range, and it's the first time that we get DRS in a long time. So I almost forgot to turn it on, but I managed to turn it on, and you can see we are now outside a 1 second gap. We are closing in during that Mickey Mouse section, which I don't like that much to drive, but compared to the AI, it's... oh no, yellow flags. What's happening? It's our teammate. Our teammate has a failure with his engine, which means that he is out of this race. I think maybe we need to focus on our reliability, as this is not his first DNF of the season. If you want to find out how many DNFs he's already had, then go check out the playlist in the description down below. So yeah, we continue our race and hopefully we don't get any engine problems, as we haven't had any luck in this race. We had a bad qualifying, we had a bad start. Luckily we gained some positions, and then when we got to the pit stop, we lost some more time due to the left front tire not going on as well as it should. So hopefully the luck will return to our side, and we can overtake the guys in front, but it's only for P11, so we also need to overtake Magnussen, who is 6 seconds ahead of us at this point. but we are really close behind Guanyuzo, and we are now overtaking him, the same as we did to our teammate, outside for the one corner and the inside for the next one, and we are now up into P12, and we are not leaving any stone unturned. You can see only one lap later, and we are behind Fernando Alonso as he locks up, and we have a overtake once again. We are now up into P11, almost clashing into the walls, but luckily no damage there for us, as I almost ran into the back of Fernando Alonso. But now it's only 5 laps remaining to catch Magnussen ahead. And we get a notification from our engineer who says that we have an engine problem. So that is not good at all. As you can see right now here on the start finish rate, our engine has set to lean, which is not good at all. We will lose a huge amount of time, which is not good for us, as we are trying to catch Magnussen, not get a bigger gap between us. But luckily still Fernando Alonso is behind us, as you can see now through Sector 1. These beautiful camera shots here in Miami. I absolutely love them. The same with this helicopter shot. You can see Fernando Alonso trying to overtake us, but we just hold on to P11 for now then. As I don't want to get overtaken by anyone, which means that I will lose much more time. And at the end of Sector 1, you can see our engine has set back to standard. You can see I'm happy by my steering wheel jiggling is up to left and right, and it's now a gap of 5.2 seconds, so we've lost half a second in that sector. So hopefully we can still catch up to him and gain at least 1 point. Maybe if someone has a DNF, then we can get 2 points or even more, but I don't see that happening, as there are already 2 cars who have had a DNF this race. But as you can see, 1 lap later, then the gap is shrunk from 5 seconds to 4 seconds, and it's a really good pace that we have. We have 2 laps of fuel more than we should have had, which is due to the virtual safety car and the safety car itself. As now in lap 27 we are 3.4 seconds behind. We are catching up as fast as we can. We have a green first sector, which is really great. That means that we are improving on our best time. So now through this Mickey Mouse section we go. Actually, we don't go through there. It's Kevin Magnussen we are following on board with in lap 27. And you can see these beautiful shots from his car. And you can see how slow he is through this section. And this is my favorite shot ever on a Formula 1 car. And you can see us in the back hunting him down. He doesn't know it yet, but we are coming for him, as we are now into the penultimate lap. And we are setting a new personal best away, 1:30.4, only 2.8 seconds between us and points it is. So hopefully we will be fast enough to catch him and overtake him, and otherwise it is because of the pit stop failure and the engine failure that we've had this race so far. If something else happens this episode, then I'm just going to delete this entire file, so hopefully nothing major happens anymore, as I don't want to cancel this series because I'm so angry. But you can see into the Mickey Mouse section we go for the penultimate time then. 2 seconds is between us and Kevin Magnussen in front of us, and it's only shrinking down. You can see how fast we are going. We are 20 kilometers faster than Kevin Magnussen through this section, and we are shrinking that gap to 1.5 seconds. It's a purple second sector, which is really great to see, as we are now going through the start finish section for the penultimate time. And you can see we put in a 1:30.208, which is the new fastest lap of the race. Only 1 lap remaining, and we are trying to overtake Kevin Magnussen. Into the second sector we go, and unfortunately we couldn't catch up enough to him to get DRS in this section, which would have really helped to overtake him into that last corner, or even into this Mickey Mouse section. But you can see now through the Mickey Mouse section for the last time then, the 29th time that we've been through here, and we are catching up so fast. We are now within half a second, and we need to have a perfect exit, but unfortunately we have a bit of wheel spin. Once again, a purple second sector. We use all our ERS and our DRS, as you can see now. then we are coming to that last turn, and it's Charles Leclerc who wins the Miami Grand Prix. He's absolutely in a league of his own with the amount of wins that he's getting. But unfortunately, we are now coming to the start-finish straight. We are coming to the checkered flag, and it's not in the points for us today. Everything has been against us, but unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. So we are P11. But we have the fastest lap and we are driver of the day, so that's still something.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari.
It's a Ferrari win once again, with Charles Leclerc on the top step of the podium. It's a double podium for Ferrari with Carlos Sainz in P3 and Max Verstappen in P2. So it's going to be an interesting season to see who is going to be world champion for the second season in our MyTeam career, as we are just at the 5th race of this season. We are still doing a full season, but maybe in season 3 then we can get it down to 16 races in a season, as we have put in the fastest lap, the only lap underneath 1 minute and 30 seconds. Unfortunately, Jensen Button had a DNF once again. So you can see there only half a second between us and points. Unfortunately, it wasn't at our side this time around, and you can see we've dropped down to P12 and P14 in the driver standings. But in the constructor standings, we are still in P6, equal on points with Haas, and exactly 150 points behind Ferrari. So there's a long way to go for us to become world champions in the constructors and driver standings. So let's just hope that we can do some major upgrades on the chassis, of course, for next episode. But also on the durability, so that we don't get any more DNFs from our teammates and engine problems on our side. But that is it, guys, for today's episode. If you have enjoyed this one, then please like and subscribe this video. It would really help me, as we are close to 50 subscribers. And I'll see you at the Spanish Grand Prix.